Good evening, everyone. Show the time is 6:33. This call meeting of the mayor and council is now called to order. Roll call. All council members, with the exception of Councilmember Boyd, are here. He is ill. Please rise for a pledge of allegiance, followed by an invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Jackson, will you pray for us, please?
Bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we come thanking you for this wonderful day, Father. Father God, we ask you to come into the meeting as we got so many people with concerns of Social Circle. We ask you to be in this meeting as we make a decision for you and for the goodness of Social Circle. Thank you, and we ask in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Tyson. All right, as we begin, I will read the rules for our public hearing tonight. Can you hear me okay? No? Okay. Try to get into it a little closer. Okay, we have 4 public hearings tonight. As the agenda item is brought forth, city staff will present the application. The applicant will give their presentation, 10 minutes total. Then a public hearing will be opened. Then anyone registered to speak in favor of the application will be called to the podium, give their name and address, and limited to 10 minutes total, not each. Then anyone registered to speak against the application will be called to the podium, give their name and address, and limited to 10 minutes total, not each. Once the applicant has been given the opportunity for rebuttal, with any time remaining, the public hearing will close. Once all 4 public hearings are completed, all of the items will come before the city council for a vote. With that, our first public hearing is annexation 2025005. Ms. Davis, will you give us a staff report on this one?
Sure thing. Give me one moment, please. So the first thing we're going to hear tonight is the request to annex tax parcels C1710019 and C1710020 into the city limits of Social Circle as a part of a proposed data center development. And this is the act of bringing it into the city limits. I apologize. So this would bring the 2 highlighted parcels within your packet into the city limits, and as you can see, there is a proposed site plan for these data centers within your packets. And staff does recommend approval of the annexation, and Planning Commission recommended denial.
Okay. Any questions for Ashley? Thank you, ma'am. Now call upon the applicant. You've got 10 minutes with the opportunity to reserve time for rebuttal.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Scott Green. I work with Thompson Nutton Engineering Company, address 247 Usher Street, Covington, Georgia. I'm here tonight representing the Peters family, who are the owners of the subject property and their development partner, Atlas Development, with representatives here tonight as well. I've been working with TJ and Mr. Doug and Miss Deborah Lauren and their family for a while on this project. We've studied many different potential uses on the project. And I know Mr. Doug and the Peters family, they've been a part of this community since the 40s when TJ's great-grandfather purchased the property. Mr. Doug, I know, has worked for the city. I worked for the city for nearly 2 decades. The Peters are committed to this community, and I know they want to stay part of this community, have a vested interest in the long-term prosperity of Social Circle. As I mentioned, we've studied many different alternatives for the property. We ended up with this data center use for the property due to the low traffic counts, high wage jobs, the potential for high tax income to benefit the city. Just in consultation with our team, the Peters had decided that the proposed use of the data center would provide the most economical, impactful use at the lowest impact to the community and their surrounding neighbors. Like I said, the Peters had partnered with Atlas Development. Atlas has previously come before this board in partnership with a property to the west on Zero Fair Play Road with a Project Malcolm. It is the intent that this project would become a part of Project Malcolm as it currently sits on the property on Zero Fair Play Road. Project Malcolm will be a 2-story building. In allowing this project to be on the Peters property, it would allow these 2-story taller buildings to go down to a 1-story scale to better fit in with the community and be a less intensive height and use for the property. That's all I really have for now.
Any questions? All right, with that, I will. Okay.
7 minutes and 44 seconds.
Yeah. So my name's Jonathan Ward. I'm with Atlas Development. I did come before y'all with Carlton on the Malcolm piece a month ago to month and a half. So I just wanted to reiterate that we're not asking for any more utility provides on this project. All the utilities that we already have, power and water, will suffice for this project. And that's all I got. I just wanted to make sure y'all knew that.
Thank you, sir. All right, this time I will open. Oh. How about now? Y'all hear me? Okay, I'll now open a public hearing. Ask for anyone to speak in favor. We do have some people signed up to speak in favor of this application. First up is Jeremy Reese. Oh, okay. Esma Reese.
I'll pass.
Okay. Tina Peters.
Pass.
TJ Peters.
Yeah, I just want to show support, but pass.
Okay. Doug Peters.
I will say, I'm Doug Peters, 281 Memorial Street. I've been living there since, and owned and lived there since '69 here in town. But I actually grew up on this farm, and it's just the time that I'm going to sell. It's going to happen today or real soon, regardless of what happens here tonight. I'm 70 years old, and I've been running a herd of cattle, been farming a good bit around Social Circle all my life. And in fact, where the school is down here, I plowed soybeans as a young man. I've done stuff on the other farm where the new school is. At the same time, I've hunted. I'm an avid hunter. I know all these lands, all these properties that's being put up for data centers, and there's no doubt. I believe that our pick is probably the best of any of them that there is. We have the solar farm there. There's very few people that live around it, and we don't have any complaints so far. I know there's a lot of people that don't like change, don't want the traffic, don't want this and that that's involved, but there's a lot of good that could come from this. And I think it's going to be good come into the city. The city actually had asked me 15 or 20 years ago about getting the city limits out in that direction. And I told them I didn't want the extra tax bills, what happened. But anyway, we're gonna sell it. We're gonna sell it soon. And I just thank y'all for putting up with all this. There's errors coming both ways all the time. I understand it's a tough situation, but we'd appreciate it if we could get in. It'd be good for all these professionals that's been working on selling it for us. We've been trying to sell it for a year, and lots of these other people are just jumping in late. But I thank y'all, and hopefully we can get in here.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Peters. Lauren Crane. Please remember to limit your time to 3 minutes.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor, council members, all the familiar faces. I'm fond of a lot of people here. I am Lauren Crane. I currently reside at 1030 Long Branch Run in Watkinsville, Georgia. But as you know, I was born and raised here in Social Circle, graduated from school here, familiar building. Still partially own a home on Kane Street here in the city limits. And my family still proudly calls this community home. We're here tonight because we really believe that the most responsible path forward for our land is to take part in shaping what happens to it in a way that respects our neighbors, protects our community, and really does honor and benefit the small town that we love and grew up in. So as a family, especially my brother TJ and I, we've worked really hard to try to find the right partner that we believe is going to bring the right use to the right place at the right time in this area to really bring a successful development. So this development already passed down the road. We hope that the expansion of that as a partner with them is just going to create less impact on the area. We believe the development's financially strong, responsible, and that it is aligned with the kind of thoughtful growth that we hope to see in the city of Social Circle and see it benefit the city for years to come. I'm also a full-time realtor as my profession. One of the very first principles that we learn is the concept of highest and best use. So it's the foundation on how you evaluate property, and you ask what use brings the greatest benefit to the owner, to the community, what creates long-term stability, what makes it efficient and responsible for the use of that land. So this particular property attracts national attention. We have taken calls from years to every single one of our phones because of its location, the existing infrastructure that's there, the proximity to the power, and now the characteristic of the area that you're seeing around it as well. So this proposed data center will bring high-quality jobs, major investment, meaningful tax revenue, and it can support roads, utilities, schools, community services, public safety. It'll do all that without being a strain, without overfilling classrooms, without a massive population growth, but it can bring the jobs. One of the things that we feel is it's less intensive and more compatible than many of the other projects that we've been approached with over the years. From a professional standpoint, it's clear that this use is well planned, it's low impact. This campus represents the highest and best use of this land. So it provides great economic value with the least disruption to the character of Social Circle. So one of the things that I hold dear about Social Circle is the city school district. Growing up here, I know I've spoken to several teachers, and one of the first comments that they make is like, our classrooms are already full. The thought of residential growth and lots of more people and lots of more traffic is something that's on their mind. This development is going to bring something unique and special, I think, to the city of Social Circle, because while it's going to bring partnerships, hopefully cooperative opportunities for these students to learn maybe in these in the tech world, and hopefully bring that revenue back into the schools as well. So we've also talked to some neighbors down the street. I do have a letter from a Mr. Don Anderson who lives off of Hawkins Academy Road. how am I doing on time? I would love to read it. If not, I'll just hand it to you, but.
3 minutes and 44 seconds.
Okay. So I just want to share this letter for him. He says, "My name is Don Anderson. I'm 84 years old. I've lived around Social Circle a very long time. I've seen this town change a lot over the years, some for the better, some not so much. I know the Peters family, and after learning about the project they're working on, I believe it's the best use for that piece of land. We don't need more traffic or crowded roads. We've got enough. What they're proposing is the kind of growth that just makes sense. It'll bring good money to help fix our roads, support our schools, and it won't bring a bunch of new neighborhoods or a bunch of extra people piling into town all the time. Low impact use will create solid jobs, steady revenue without changing the character. As far as how it looks, I don't think it'll be a problem. There's already a power station, power lines, and other infrastructure right there. It seems to me like that's exactly the kind of place something like this ought to go. I truly believe this project will be beneficial to the city and to the folks who live here. It's the right kind of progress, something that brings good opportunity without taking away from the small town life." And that's Don Anderson. He lives at 1231 Hawkins Academy Road. I do have some letters of support, from other people that weren't able to be here tonight. But all in all, I just want to share that, our family doesn't want to leave this community, so we very, very much care about what the impact this development will have, and we want it to be successful, and we think we have the right people to make that happen with the right resources. And they have, you've seen where the project has already been approved down the road, and the capacity on the utilities is the same. So thank you so much for your time, for your consideration. And I hope that all of you in the room that know us consider it as well, and really listen and differentiate this project from some of the others that you've heard. And thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Ms. Crane. Okay, we still have, looks like 1:29. Is that right, Tyson?
37.
Minute
1 minute,
37.
37 seconds.
Okay, Nate Berman.
Pass, is here to show support.
Okay. Reverend Jamie Reese.
Pass, I'm just here to show support.
Okay, thank you. Deborah Powers.
I'm Deborah Powers. I was a Peters before I became a Powers. I live at 920 Holly Hill Road in Monroe, Georgia, and I am here in support. And like Lauren said, we know a large percentage of people here, and they probably haven't seen me in many, many years, but if you know our property, we got 30-plus acres of property that we can't use. Georgia Power has control over it. And we've had that power station there, and it's been, I say, every 10 years?
Yes.
Every 10 years, they come back, and they want more. And nobody comes to our, nobody comes and stands up for us when they're knocking on our door wanting more of our property. And they'll keep coming. I guarantee you, if it don't go through, they'll be back wanting more. And I just wanted to say that and tell you thank you for listening to us and let you know who I am. My husband and I own a business in Walton County. We pay taxes in Walton County. We love Walton County. We love Social Circle. My brother and his family live here, and just wanted to show support. Thank you.
That's time too, David.
Okay. All right. Now open the floor for anyone wishing to speak against. I don't believe we had anyone sign up to speak against. Is that correct, Susan? Okay. I'm sorry. We do have some people signed up to speak against. It was hidden under the stack of paperwork. All right, first up, we have Doug Hawkins.
My name is Doug Hawkins. Live at 920 Lakewood Drive. I know Doug Peters and the Peters family. Basically, my inquiry is as a follow-up for what I had sent to the city asking for an answer. And since I didn't get it, I thought I'd reiterate it tonight. I've referenced in the 3656, just reading briefly here, it says a municipal corporation exercising authority under this article shall make plans for the extensions of services to the area proposed to be annexed, and prior to the public hearing provide for a code section 363657 shall prepare a report setting forth its plans to provide services to the area. The question I have, and I think I'd ask you to direct that to your council, is has that been addressed?
Hasn't been formalized in a formal report, but anytime the annexation happens, the city takes responsibility of all services on that action.
But I'm just reading the regulations, and it implies that there should be a separate hearing prior to that addressing it. And I'd ask for you to review it before.
I'm not familiar with which.
Okay, would you review it, please?
Certainly.
And let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hawkins. Christina Studdard.
Hello. I know that y'all know what I'm going to say, so I'll repeat myself a little bit for the things I've already said for other projects. This one just happens to be on my road, so I'm a little bit more passionate about this one. And I would like to preface by saying that we don't even know if the city wants it or not. So we're just beating our head against the wall, trying to make sure, that we're being heard. But we don't even know, we have an inkling of how this meeting is going to go, because we've asked and we don't get answers. But when I was thinking about what I would say tonight, I was thinking about all the things I've already addressed these projects, like they're all the same. The data centers is a data center is a data center. Noise pollution, strain of facilities put on struggling utility systems such as sewer, unknown long-term effects of electromagnetic radiation, effects on water being the massive water use and possibly pollution to the groundwater with coolant chemicals, the property line within a watershed protection area. But in this meeting, I wanted to focus on the annexation. If approved, would directly affect a large parcel of land without a voting voice. It creates almost an island, we'll call it a peninsula, around a residential property. I don't think that would be an ethical way to zone that area. I was told on social media yesterday by another board member that I didn't have a place really at the city meetings because I live outside the city limits. So my question would be, if I have no place at the meetings, then does that mean that the city doesn't have a place to zone an industrial project in my residential area? I also got word today that OpenAI asked for government assistance this week. That's a huge warning sign. Eric Erickson, I'm sure most of you know who that is, just said that data centers will be turning into warehouses sold off to the lowest bidder before they get finished because they will be obsolete by the time they are finished. And we all know that the building period is what puts the strain on the area with traffic, noise. If you want to go back and look at the last Newton County Commissioners meeting, they are addressing the blasting that was done in the area, cracks in sheetrock and new tennis courts. Take the time to go look at the last Newton County Commissioners meeting, as they don't want these or the city annexing into Newton County as well. let's see, all these already approved data centers and the ones up for vote basically will be commercial properties zoned in a residential area, and then the only use for a light industrial, if they fall through, could be warehouses. So I want everybody to keep that in mind. Also, one more thing I wanted to say that I didn't write down, so let me get my brain together. The property adjoining to this property, and the reason why this property can ask or petition for annexation, was voted in on January 22nd, snowstorm meeting, we all know. The city was shut down, we had the meeting anyway. And that property is slated to go back to agriculture if the project falls through. I think they have 3 years to build it. But that project is considered a dead project. So I would like for everybody to realize that the adjoining property, the only reason why they can apply for annexation is a property that is slated to go back to agriculture zoning once, if it doesn't get built. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stoddard. Elsie Queen.
My name is Elsie Queen. I live at 779 Social Circle Fairplay Road. I'm outside the city limits. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay. I'm opposed to there being a data center that close to where I live. I'm opposed to the annexation because I want our area to stay a rural area. I live on a farm that my dad bought in 1948. We built a house there in 1963, so I've lived there since then, 60 years. I'm 83 years old, and I just don't want to see a data center that close on our property, and I don't want it to be annexed to be in the city. I want it to remain a rural area. We have a farm, we have 40-something cows, we have timber. We grow our own hay. We have to submit a plan for 10 years to the county to qualify for conservation use. My brother, sister, and I own the farm. It was 256 acres. We divided it between the three of us. So we would like for it to remain a rural area and not to have a data center that near us. So, and it's very close. It's almost in walking distance. Maybe not for me, but I just that's my appeal about not having it, the data center, and not being annexed into the city. So we've been in the county and we pay county taxes, and we just want to keep it a rural area so that we can have our farm and keep things much as we can. Everyone on that road, most of them, their families live there, and then they inherited or built the house and have remained there. So we feel like we have a safe community, that we know them from one end of the road to the other end of the road, and we all would like to keep it in a rural area setting. I think that's all I can say about that. Annexation, that's why I'm against it. I just don't want to be a part of the city and be governed by that when we are satisfied with the county. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Queen. Tyson, how are we on time? 2:17. Okay. Jamie Sutton.
Hello. I'm very nervous. Sorry. I'm Jamie Sutton. I live at 1351 Social Circle Fairplay Road. and I'm here to speak in opposition to the proposed data center. This will be not directly across the street from us, but I can see the property from the end of our driveway when I pull out every morning. This isn't just land to us, it's home. It's generations of family that have lived here. My parents, my grandmother, aunts, uncles, cousins, we've all built our lives down this road. I'm building my home there now. The proposed site sits 1,700 feet away from the front door of my parents' house. And that's close enough that we'll see it, hear it, and feel it every day. The thought of a massive industrial facility that close to where my family lives is heartbreaking. The land holds decades of memories and meaning. We're worried about noise, lights, and water usage and the traffic. But more than that, we're worried about losing the peace and sense of home that we've always had here. I understand that progress and growth are important, but this project doesn't feel like growth that helps the people who already live here. It feels like something that will take away from us, our peace, our safety, and our quality of life. We're not opposed to progress, but true progress should enhance the lives of the people who already call Social Circle home, not disrupt or displace them. I urge you to reconsider this proposal and protect the families that call this community home. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Sutton. Looks like Bobby Peters still have 49 seconds.
I'm Bobby Peters. I'm also been here 75 years. I'm 75 years old. I've lived in that community off and on all my life. I moved away for a while, but I live there now. In the city of Social Circle, it's one thing, I mean, they're wanting to build a building down there, but it can't be built without the city of Social Circle. And I've lived, like I say, I have nothing against the city of Social Circle, but the city of Social Circle is not going to furnish me sewer. They're not going to furnish me water. They're not going to pick up my garbage. All they're going to do is give me another tax bill and give me rules to go by, the city of Social Circle rules to go by. And I feel I've got enough rules with the county and the state, and I don't need the city of Social Circle. I'm 75, like I say, I'm part of the St. Peter's family. I've been here a long time, and I don't care nothing about not only that building, but all around. The Social Circle has gone wild with their buildings. Every corner, except on Alcovey Road and on Jersey Road. When are they going to build out there?
Thank you, Mr. Peters. Applicant, you have time to comment? You have how many minutes, Tyson?
7 minutes and 18 seconds.
7 minutes, 18 seconds.
Thank you. Yeah, we're just here to answer any questions you guys may have. No, just here to answer any questions you guys may have. Okay, no, John.
Yeah, only comment. Okay, I'll close the public hearing. And as I stated earlier, no action will be taken on these until after all 4 of these are completed. All right, next up we have the future land use map 2025-004. Ms. Davis.
Yes, so this is the future land use map amendment request to amend our future land use map to basically put these parcels, if the annexation goes through, onto the map as an industrial character area in conjunction with the rezone request, REZ 2025-012, and the special use request SU 2025-007. As you can see, this directly abuts what is currently our industrial use character, or our industrial character area. Staff recommends approval of the request to amend the future land use map and Planning Commission recommended denial of the request to amend the future land use map.
Okay. Thank you, Ashley. You have more time if you wish.
No, I'm good.
10 minutes for rebuttal.
No, I'm good.
You don't want to rebut that. All right, I'll open the public hearing. I'm sorry? Not according to this, but, okay. All right, we'll give the applicant 10 minutes with the opportunity to reserve time.
Thank you. I know we've covered a lot on the first reading. I just want to add and kind of reiterate that we are not, there'll be no more power, no more water than what's already on Project Malcolm. We're looking to, again, lower from a 2-story to a 1-story footprint. We do have a tenant for the building. I do have letters here from Georgia Power in support of the project I can give to you if needed. Okay. Well, that's all I've got for now.
Okay. Thank you, sir. All right, this time we'll open the public hearing. Open the floor for anyone wishing to speak in favor. Do we have any? Yep. Jeremy Reese. Okay. Esma Reese. Doug Peters.
My sister was trying to say what she was doing a while ago. It boils down to, that was one of the first power stations that was brought here, and it's been added to and added to. We've been come to. I've been through five threatens to eminent domain because I've held out and really had to fight to get a little bit of money out of it. And in fact, there was actually, when I was younger and my mother was in charge, the land was actually taken without getting a penny for one of the lines that went in there. When the progress over on I-20 got going, each time there was always a line to leave there. And right now, there's progress like crazy being built. That substation is enlarging daily. It's been about 3 months now that they've been working constantly. And so there's no doubt in my mind that there's going to be more taking of the land. It might as well be the owners of the land that's going to be using it. And that's the data center folks is the actual people that's going to be using it. And I just like for y'all to take that in consideration, that its progress is here. The development, some of the people that's complaining about was involved in getting the place that's coming, Rivian. There's people that's sitting on the board right here in this room that's encouraging economic development in the area. And it's just happening. It's here, and there ain't none of us here, not a soul in this room is gonna stop it. I-20 is too close, and what the county has promoted for years, it's been going on for about 20 years now, 20, 30 years, is the growth that we can't, we just gotta accept it. We're part of what's happening, and times is changing. Thanks for listening to me.
Thank you, Mr. Peters. J.J. Peters?
It's TJ, but.
TJ? Okay, sorry.
I'm just here for support again.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Lauren Crane. Okay. Tina Peters.
I'll pass, but I'm big time supporter for it.
Nate Behrman.
Pass. Ms. Here shows support.
Reverend Jamie Reese.
Pass. Here shows support.
Deborah Powers.
I said what I needed to say earlier. Thank you.
Thank you. James Copeland.
Pass. In here support.
Megan Peters. Jenny Hunter.
Here to show support, pass.
James Hunter.
Here for support, but I pass.
Looks like Cody Bella. Is there no Cody? I may be pronouncing the last name incorrectly. Okay. All right.
Open it up to the rest of the floor, Mr. Mayor. Anybody else not?
Anybody else wishing to speak? This is speak in favor. Okay. The applicant has an opportunity. What? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Anybody to speak against? Okay, we do have some people. Ms. Studdard.
I was actually going to waive my right to speak on this one just because I didn't have anything to say until it just came to me. The spokesperson for this project says there's no more power or water needed on the property. But you don't just create your own power or water. It has to come from somewhere. And who will be the supplier of the power or water? Do we have letters of intent? Do we have contracts with anybody? What type of paperwork do we have for that and guarantees for that? Have any been submitted?
Eric, do you know of any?
I believe power was submitted as part of the last project. As far as the water goes, the city has been in active negotiations with surrounding governments.
For this project particular?
For yes.
For this one?
For this one and other data centers.
Okay, so like all of the data centers like as a whole together?
Yes.
Not for this specific one?
Right.
Gotcha, thank you.
Thank you. Mike Owens.
So my name is Mike Owens. I live at 4454 Hawkins Academy Road, directly across the street from where the data center is going. Okay. I want to thank Mayor and Council for listening to us. I mean, there's a lot of folks here who live in that area who are not happy with what's happening. It's not necessarily against the Peters family. I've got no issues with the Peters family. Doug, I consider him a friend, I always have. He has been my neighbor for the last 24 years. I could not blame him for taking the kind of money that these data centers are offering for property. It's 10 and 15 times what is normally being offered. I don't blame him. I appreciate Doug for bringing up the fact that I am an economic development guy. I am a pro-economic development guy. I serve on the Joint Development Authority for the 4 counties. I serve on the Downtown Development Authority for the City of Social Circle. But I do not think this is the right project for this area. I've got no issues with data centers. I think data centers ought to be located in industrial parks because they are mega industrial projects. I appreciate Doug bringing up my experience with this because I've seen a number of data centers go in out at Stanton Springs. They wipe out everything. They basically come in and build a pad and wipe out all the woods, wipe out everything that's there. That's a part of the construction process. That's just the start of it, okay? I think one of the good things about industrial parks, though, is industrial parks can offer them land as much as they need. They can offer them all of have the commitments for the resources, for power, for water. All of those things can be offered there. That's the place for these things to go, not out in communities, not out in neighborhoods, okay? I just don't think they should be located in neighborhoods and agricultural areas. On islands pieced together by annexation after annexation after annexation, okay? My frustration is just that. My frustration is with this group, okay? And I'm hoping that you at least have enough forethought to think about the impact that these facilities have, all right? You don't know the impact that they have. None of us actually know the impact that they have, all right? These are long-term. After the component of construction, which essentially wipes out everything in the area, then comes the impact on, that's the impact on the environment. Then you have the impact on community resources, impact on the cost of those things because we're sending it all there. The availability and cost of electricity, water, infrastructure, roads. I heard them telling them 1,000 cars a day on those roads. On Hawkins Academy Road and Social Circle Fairplay. Are you kidding me? 1,000 cars. These are 24/7 operations, and they are not light industrial. And that's what you folks need to think about, okay? You can't go in and change something. I guess you're legal to do it, to go in and change it from agricultural and then change the future land use map and then go in and change it so that you can put light industrial and then have a special use so you can put something that's heavy industrial in there. That's not right, okay? That may be legal, but that's not ethical, I'll tell you that. I think the city has a great opportunity to use this area around the bypass for light industrial in accordance with the current and future land use map that you have now. I think the problem is, I see if we commit all of the community's resources to data centers, then we could very well miss the opportunity for light industrial development we planned for and the jobs that go with them around that bypass area. Look, many communities in Georgia and around the country are starting to realize the long-term impact and negative impacts of data centers cause for communities by absorbing the community's resources. My ask of you guys, my ask of everyone here is let's pump the brakes, step back and really do our due diligence to understand the impacts of data centers and not make a mistake that this community will pay for years. Follow the guidance from your planning commission, follow the guidance from your community, and honor your own moratorium that you guys set. Honor your own moratorium on data centers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Owens. Elsie Queen.
Okay. I didn't have to speak a second time if I had said this before, but the use of the data center, if I compare it to some of the businesses that are in our area, and you take Standridge, I know that they employ about 270 people, and it's not a tall 3-story building and doesn't have that square footage that a data center would have. And I'm not saying just Standridge, but I'm talking about the other businesses around in Social Circle. Most of them are 1-story, maybe 2-story, but they're a lot smaller, but they employ a lot of people. And I don't believe the data center would employ as many people as these do with much smaller space. And that's like 25, no, I said it would be about the 270 people that one plant would employ, that I don't know if the data center would employ, a data center would employ that many people. And it would be a lot bigger. And this is, they are manufacturers, so that would be my reason for not having a data center type thing. I don't think it would offer that much for employment, so.
Jamie Sutton. Tawana Gilbert.
Kind of nervous to talk in front of a bunch of people, so bear with me, okay? My name's Tawana Gilbert. I live at 1579 Amberstep Stutter Road. I've lived here for 54 years, all my life. I've seen Social Circle grow, and what y'all have planned is not good. I stand before y'all tonight, not just as a resident, but as a voice for the people who drink the water, breathe the air, and raise their children in this town. The proposal is to approve 3 or more data centers in Social Circle. It is not just a zoning issue, it's a moral one. These facilities will consume millions of gallons of water per day, strain our electrical grid, and bring noise, heat, and industrial traffic to our backyards. And for what? A few short tax dollars, while residents pay the long-term price in depleted wells, rising utility costs, and a degraded quality of life. Let me be clear, I don't hope this will harm our community. I know it will. I know it will, and if you approve this, knowing the consequences, then there's a special place in hell for each and every one of you. Now, I know that's strong language, but let me ask you this. What's the fastest way to turn a preacher into a crook? Vote him into office. So which one are you going to be? The preacher who does the right thing and protects their flock, or the crook who doesn't give a damn as long as the kickbacks keep coming? And if you're still considering approval, then at the very least, do the bare minimum to protect the people you serve. I'm asking you to add a stipulation that any facility that risks impacting aquifers or wetlands must be mandated to contribute to well replacement funds to assist residents when their wells run dry. Not if, when. Because it will happen. And when it does, the burden should not fall on the families who have lived here for generations. It should fall on the industries that caused it. Additionally, to protect our community natural resources and ensure responsible growth, we must have local ordinances that clearly define data centers and restrict their development or on or near wetlands. These ordinances should require comprehensive hydrological studies and full public disclosures of water usage before any permits are granted. We are watching, we are organizing, and we will remember who stood for the people and who sold us out. Thank you.
James Peters.
Thank you all. James Peters, lived at 4700 Parkwood Road, live out in Zone 5. Mr. Doug, Jeremy, Jamie, we're all kin to each other. Everything's going on, and nothing against you, Mr. Doug, nothing against you, anybody right here. So far, the only people that we see benefiting from any of this right here is the city of Social Circle, because y'all are going to have increased tax revenue, and Mr. Doug and his family. They're going to sell their property. What does this offer in our community? What does it offer us in the long term? You know, we're seeing more and more traffic I've lived here all of my life. Never before do we have to sit and wait for cars at Fairplay Road and Hawkins Academy Road. Now, how long do you sit there? All it does is tear down the community. We've got a lot of new people that live there. They moved out there for the country living, not for the data centers. That's all I got. Thank you all for listening.
Bobby Peters. Okay, we still have 2 minutes and 49 seconds left if anyone else would wish to speak against.
I'd like to speak. I put my name on the list. I'm not sure which list I put it on, but I put it on the list. Do you mind?
No.
Good. I like cooperation. So first off, I want to thank Mike Owens for doing the in-depth study there. Secondly, I'm sorry, I'm George Bernardin. I live at 4908 Parkview Road.
Thank you, sir.
Outside the city, but I do believe this impacts me. So I have a message for everybody in here that's on a well. Get your water tested now and establish a baseline as to what's in your water. So I've already done that. One of the things I want to say is I've traveled all over the country and I've worked with engineers, and I have a question. Is there a peer review of all the plans you have, or is it just your plans and your projections as to what's going to take place? Or is there an actual peer review by somebody that's not tied to the project that can say your numbers are accurate? Because I have a concern about the environmental impacts. I'm on a well, and that's my number one concern. The other environmental impacts I have is what's it going to do to all our resources? How many of you here remember the great power outage in Texas about 3 years ago when they said they had tons of power, they'd never run out of power, and they built data centers, and for 3 weeks in the dead of winter, they were without power. The whole state, not just a little bit of it. So how many considerations have been taken into that? A friend of mine is an electrical engineer. He actually did the peer review for Rivian. I could shoot him for that. But he was at least honest and told me. So my concern are the natural resources and the environmental impacts. And I'd like to see an environmental impact. As a horticulturalist and a person that went around professing and implementing sustainability on major universities, including this little one called Texas A&M, I'd like to see the sustainability plan for these things, the long term. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We still have 49 seconds if anyone else wishes to speak against. All right. Call on the applicant. You have the opportunity to comment.
All right, there's a couple of, I was taking as many notes as I could, and there was a couple of bullet points I wanted to address. Mike, again, thank you for speaking. I know Mike, we've worked with Mike for many years. From a land perspective, yes, industrial parks do offer land for projects, but for this project, this land is appropriate for the project. The size of the land, the adjacency to the utilities. I know the plan isn't up on the board right now, but from a planning standpoint, we have planned to put these facilities in areas to reduce the impacts to the environment and wetlands. The first things you do when you go out and when you start to plan and develop any property, no matter what the use is, you get a survey, which the Peters got. You also get a third-party wetland consultant, professional wetland consultant to come out on site and evaluate the jurisdictional and non-jurisdictional wetlands, perennial streams, intermittent streams, and ephemeral streams. All those are under the jurisdiction of the Army Corps of Engineers. And then we, on the engineering and planning side, try to plan the site to reduce as many impacts as we can on the natural environment and the wetlands. I know one other point was brought up about the water district and building in the water district. We will have to abide by the city's impervious regulations. We know that as part of the city code, and we'll do that with this project. I know something was discussed about water and sewer utilities in Mike's statement, but as Eric's mentioned, we are in discussions with the city about the water and sewer, and Eric has already stated where the city stands on that. From an employment standpoint, these buildings do employ about 35 to 50 full-time employees. Now, these facilities do run on multiple shifts, so that's not 35 to 50 people entering the facility all at one time. It's spread out over a longer time period, hence the lower traffic impacts on these developments. From a noise and light standpoint, the city has ordinances related to that. We will abide by those city ordinances that are in place to meet those concerns. Something was brought up, I'm kind of going to mix a couple of the comments I wrote down here about the hydrological studies, the review of the plans, the accuracy of the plans. So I'm a professional civil engineer in the state of Georgia, from Georgia, love this area. And from not only when we start to do these plans, but after this phase, you get into the more detailed engineering studies. So we as engineers, along with a team of mechanical engineers and structural engineers and architects and the whole project team, will further develop these plans to take into account water, sewer, erosion control, all types of aspects needed to develop this campus. We create this set of site development plans that get submitted to the city, to the state, if required, to the federal government for review. The city, the state, and the federal government, if applicable, do those third-party reviews to make sure that the plans designed meet the local, the state, the federal ordinances. Those are the major bullet points I touched on. I just wanted to kind of provide some commentary there. Is any questions from? Okay, thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. I did want to correct what I said earlier. Georgia Power, we do have the letter here is for the electrical services contract, so we do have that in place for Georgia Power. And something to add, I know there was a concern brought up about the data centers are going to use all our power. From Georgia Power, the Public Service Commission, even the EMCs and the MEAGs in the state, any load, whether it's a residential house load, whether it's a business load, whether it's a supermarket load, a data center load, these loads get submitted with ramps of when those loads are to happen. They get submitted to the power provider. In this instance, it's Georgia Power. Georgia Power studies those loads. They have a large comprehensive model. It's bigger than Social Circle. It's bigger than Walton County. The models they have are really larger than the state. We're a very large interconnected grid across multiple states. And Georgia Power determines that, yes, we can service that load. So when the power companies do that service, they look at all the other surrounding loads to know that they're not going to adversely affect the existing customers, no matter whether those are households or businesses or schools or any institutions or any customers they have. The new loads aren't to adversely affect those customer loads. That's why they improve and upgrade the infrastructure to make sure that the infrastructure can support any of those demands, no matter whether it's a subdivision or a data center development. So just wanted to kind of add that. I thank you for reminding me of that.
Okay, thank you. We will now close the public hearing. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Mayor, did you close that public hearing?
Yes, I
Okay.
did. Okay, this is for the rezone.
This is when I start to get long-winded here. So this rezone request is to rezone parcels C171 0019 and C1710020 from agricultural to light industrial as part of a proposed data center development. This is being done in conjunction with a special use request that we will hear later tonight. As shown on the proposed site plan, which is Exhibit A in y'all's packets, the data center development would be developed on plus or minus 151 acres and would consist of 3 separate 2-story buildings according to the plan that was submitted, along with 1 substation totaling a little less than 1.5 million square feet. The properties designated as light industrial typically have an impervious surface ratio of 40%. However, this property would fall within the watershed protection overlay district, and so the maximum impervious surface ratio that would be allowed would be 25% as outlined in section 5.3.4 of the UDC. Additionally, the UDC does prohibit the request for a variance with regard to the maximum impervious surface ratio for the properties that fall within the watershed protection overlay district. In addition to the previously mentioned buildings on Exhibit A, there's also shown 2 separate parking lots along with 2 retention ponds. The applicant also indicated in their application that the primary access point to the site would be off of Roy Malcolm Road with a secondary emergency access driveway along Hawkins Academy Road. The proposed emergency access driveway would be coordinated with Walton County. Parking, access management, buffer, and stormwater management requirements would all be addressed during the site development review phase of the project, should this project be approved. And the applicant did conduct a trip generation analysis, which is Exhibit B within your packets, as part of an application to provide an estimate of the increase in traffic flow through the area as part of their proposed development. That exhibit shows the analysis estimates that the proposed development would generate approximately 160 external two-way trips during AM peak hours and about 135 during PM peak hours, and a total of a little over 1,200 during a 24-hour duration. There's currently no water, sewer, or gas availability in the area. However, the applicant has indicated, if approved, they intend on extending water and sewer services for the project with guidance from the city, and we've also talked about that a little bit here tonight. The applicant has also indicated they intend on working with Georgia Power as it pertains to the electrical utilities and the electrical substation, and the substation would be developed on 5 acres of land as shown on Exhibit A. The applicant did hold a community meeting virtually on September 9th. However, aside from the applicant and their engineers, there were no other attendees. Staff recommends approval with some conditions. Those conditions are, 1, there shall be a minimum 300-foot natural vegetative buffer along Roy Malcolm Road and adjoining properties with residential use and or zoning. 2, if development of a data center or industrial data center campus does not begin within 3 years from the date of approval, or significant progress is not continuously being made towards the completion of the proposed development, then the zoning of the property would revert back to agriculture. 3, maximum parking spaces shall be calculated at 1 parking space per 5,000 square feet of building heated square footage. 4, wall packs and exterior lighting mounted on buildings shall only be placed above service entrances. Service entrances shall be full cutoff fixtures and down lighting so as not to cast light or glare towards property lines or streets, and shall not be used for general site lighting. Number 5, parking lot lights shall not be taller than 20 feet, shall be full cutoff fixtures and not cast light or glare towards property lines. Site lighting and photometric plans shall be completed and not provide more than 7-foot candles at the base of light. And number 6, power substation shall be screened from view if visible from the right-of-way with a dense evergreen hedge that provides an opaque visual buffer. Said hedge shall be no less than 12 feet in height at the time of planting. Planning Commission recommended denial of the request to rezone from agricultural to light industrial.
Thank you, Ashley. All right, applicant, 10 minutes.
I did want to cover a few things there. I know I mentioned earlier, the watershed protection 25% impervious is something that we will be abiding by as part of this project. access, I wanted to cover that. These facilities are highly secure facilities. You would have a primary gated access, and then you always end up planning for a secondary emergency access. That's usually closed, 24-hour day gate with Knox boxes for fire and emergency services, police able to come on site there. In terms of the I'm sorry, hold on one second. I have a note right here I want to say. In terms of the conditions that Ashley just mentioned, I believe we're okay with those conditions. We're okay with the conditions that were on the Zero Fair Play Road project. Those 9 conditions covered a lot of what Ashley just said there, and we'd ask those same conditions that were put on Zero Fair Play be applied to this track as well. It'll be a similar development of similar nature.
Okay. This time I'll open the public hearing, open the floor for those wanting to speak in favor. Total 10 minutes, and we did have several people to sign up. First is Jeremy Reese. Okay. Esma Reese. Tina Peters. Doug Peters. TJ Peters. Lauren Crane. Okay. Reverend Jamie Reese. Nate Bertram, it looks like. Okay. Deborah Powers.
Here for support.
Steve Powers. James Copeland. Colton Powers. Jenny Hunter. James Hunter. Cody, last name Bella, maybe. I think he's one left, okay. Anybody else wishing to speak? We still have time remaining. Okay, thank you. All right, now we'll open the floor for those wishing to speak against. Ms. Studdard.
I am against the rezone, however, I'm gonna pass my time to the lady who's speak and see what she's got to say.
So my name is Ashley Martin, and I live at 4640 Parkwood Road. And I agree with everybody that has spoke about the worry about the water, how it's going to seep in. This is all going to be in the city. I live in the county. So what infrastructure is the county going to give me? Nobody can answer that question. We don't have water. We're going to have polluted wells. We don't have sewage. We don't have any of that. But the increase with all the Georgia Power that's coming, it's going to affect everybody because we're going to have to pay for all that infrastructure that Georgia Power is going to be having to build so that we can house all the data centers that are coming all over the state of Georgia. California has brownouts. The man talked about Texas not having enough power. We have great power here in Georgia. Why do we want to give all that up to have a bunch of data centers here and AI? We're talking about lights that are going to be out. Well, we have a conservatory down at Hard Labor Creek so that you can go and see the stars. Well, if the whole sky is lit up, you can't see the stars. So that's kind of where I'm at. And I don't want to repeat what everybody else has said, but I don't know if anybody's thought about that. I know that a church tried to put in some baseball lights in Morgan County, and they were denied because of the conservatory down at Hard Labor Creek, because they didn't want to mess with what could be seen by the stars. So anyway, that's all I have to say.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up, we have Elsie Queen. Okay. Jamie Sutton. Okay. Tawana Gilbert. James Peters. Randall Richardson. I'm sorry, what did you say? Pass. Okay. Ashley Martin. Okay. Bobby Peters. Okay. And Paul Clinic.
Hey, I'm Paul. I live on Knox Chapel 229. I was just thinking about the process that we're talking about annexing, taking other places and bringing them into the city. It seems to me like it's real easy to start extending boundaries, but the best I could come up with is this kind of like somebody in your neighborhood has a pet lion. It's really great. They could claim that it's a tame lion, but when it comes down to it, do you want that lion in your yard with the possibility of what can happen? And that's what I'm asking y'all to think about. You can annex all day long and you can make all these ideas for other places that you're going to put there, but ultimately you really got to consider what it's going to do and what dangers and what are the downsides. Yeah, there's going to be some upsides to it. Right now it looks like there's a whole lot more downside than there is upside. So anyway, just please think about how far is enough to annex. What are the overall plans? How far is enough? When is it's kind of like the ocean comes to the beach and it stops. Are y'all going to keep trying to keep going? You got to come up with a long-term plan of where you're going to end up, because it affects all of our lives. Thank you.
We have 7 minutes and 48 seconds.
Anyone else wishing to speak against?
My name is Cheryl Savage, and I live at 309 New Alcovey Road. And thank y'all for listening to us tonight and listening to our concerns. That is one of the reasons that we elected this body, is to make sure that you do listen to our concerns and things that we're worried about. So I'm not so much against annexing. I believe Mr. Peters already said he wanted it in his yard. So I don't think we have the problem of moving the line in his yard. I'm not concerned about that. I know a lot of people are, and I understand their concerns completely. My concerns are a little bit different. I moved to Social Circle 5 years ago. My electricity bill then was $114 a month. The next year it was $119 a month. Now it's $193 a month. Okay, Georgia Power is going to raise rates. Okay, they are going to raise rates. Now there's a 3.5-year agreement that they're not going to raise rates. That'd be right about the time this data center's finished. Okay, somebody is going to pay for these substations. Somebody's going to pay for all of this. I'd just like to know who. Is the developer going to pay for it? Are they getting tax incentives? Are they getting abatements? Are they getting any incentives to build this data center that is going to ultimately cause something to be passed on to us? That's what I want to know. The other thing is, I saw this story several years ago of a lady who moved out here to retire just like I did, okay, quiet, beautiful small little town. And I know we all want to keep it little, so I don't got a problem with the 50 employees. I'm cool with that. Okay, that doesn't bother me at all. 50 people, that's good. I understand the carrot. I understand the carrot that's dangling. Great tax money for the city, and we need it because we don't have a lot. We don't have a lot of people. We don't have a lot of tax money. So I understand the incentives, but I also understand that these data centers are targeting small communities with that carrot. But what comes with that carrot? They often do not pay for the hidden costs that get passed on to us. Okay? Are there agreements in place that say they're not going to take our water? What about the little lady over there by Meta who moved out there and has to let her water drip all night? You know, they come build a data center in there, and Meta don't care. Once it's built, they don't care. They're in. They don't care. This right here is where it's going to matter, okay? So what happens is now she can't sell her house if she wanted to because she can't run no water. Her well is dry. Okay, I'm lucky I'm on city water, even if it's brown. It tastes good, okay? I know y'all are working on that too, and I appreciate it, okay? I really do appreciate it. And I understand that we have to address that at some point, and I appreciate y'all doing that, even if it means a higher water bill. I appreciate that. We got to pay for it somehow, okay? Where is the incentives for the citizens? What incentives are being given to the citizen to assure that those costs aren't going to be passed on to us? Share where the water is coming from. Is it coming from the water table, coming from Monroe, coming from Walton? Share those things. Where is it coming from? Who's going to pay for it? How's it going to get to the data center? Share all of those things with us so that we're informed. That's what I ask. Our water bills are already, we all feel it. We all feel the water bill going up, but it's not done. It's going to be up 50% over the next 5 years. How worse than the water bill going up is if you can't get any water. So we want assurances that there's going to be water. We want assurances that Georgia Power is not in 3.5 years going to say, got to pay for all those substations. Got to pay for all of that and pass that cost on to us, because that's generally the complaint. If you do your research and you see where people complain after the data centers come, it's the hidden costs that come behind the scenes. And that's when we get hit with it. So what I would ask you is, do you have written agreements from the developer that those costs aren't going to be passed on to us? I know Georgia Power, they're going to give you that letter saying it's not going to be up and it's not going to be raised in 3.5 years. They did that. But they've also raised them 6 times in the last few years. Okay, so they're going to raise it. They're going to get their money. We know how corporate works. They're going to get their money. The task that is before you as our city is to put our protection. I know what y'all are doing. You're trying to find us some money to get the things that we need for our city. And we appreciate that. We appreciate the tax incentives that'll come along with this. But there's 4 or 5 of these data centers. If they take 2 million gallons for each one and they all get approved, you're talking about a serious amount of money. Now, who gets priority? Citizens or the data center? If we have a drought, what happens? If we're buying it from another community, what happens during a drought? They may say, sorry, we can't sell you anymore this month. What's going to happen then? Are we going to cut the data center, or are we going to cut our citizens' water? What will happen then? These are the questions that I'm asking you to answer for us. The limited job creation doesn't bother me a bit because I like it small out here. So I do understand that we all talk about we want more in our city. We need stuff. We need services. We need all these things. Well, you can't get those things without a lot of big businesses and stuff, okay? So I understand. I accept that. I can go somewhere else if I want to get those things. I love it small. I love it beautiful. I love small social circle, and I love the community. And so I'm perfectly fine accepting those things. My biggest things are, when is the tax money coming in that we're supposedly going to get from this data center? Is it going to be immediate relief? Are we going to get anything immediately? Because it's okay if the city gets all these things and then turns around and gives us services back, but not if the hidden costs that are behind it are going to come down on the citizens. So I would ask you, before you make those decisions, that do you have the answers to those questions? Or when's the money going to come? What guarantees do we have that those hidden costs are not going to be passed on to us for the water and for the electricity? What incentives and what guarantees do locals have who are not on city water that their wells aren't going to go dry? That's what I would ask. I'm all for controlled growth. I think that's a wonderful thing. But I think what we have to look at and make sure, what we don't want to happen is that we follow the dangling carrot. And then as time goes by, we go, oh my God. Because I've talked to a few city councilmen in another state that don't fall for the data center trick. And I'm like, what? Wait, what trick? What are you talking about? Talk to me about the trick. The cost got passed on to the citizens. And that's what I'm concerned of, because times are hard enough right now. A lot of us are on fixed incomes or going to be in the next year or two. I'm talking about myself. So, and it'll be harder. We have to plan for our future as well. And honestly, I have thought to myself, if things keep going up like this in Social Circle, Cheryl's gonna have to go somewhere else. And I don't want to do that, because this is a wonderful community. I would just ask that before you make those decisions, can you give us those guarantees? Do you have written agreements in place with the developers where they guarantee it?
Your time's up.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Savage. Okay, the applicant has an opportunity to comment.
First off, thank you, Ms. Martin and Ms. Savage, for your heartfelt comments. Those are very thoughtful. I do have some responses for them. We are very lucky to be in Georgia. I know data centers in some other states. I do think those costs are have gotten passed on to their customers in the past. But luckily for us in Georgia, the Public Service Commission earlier this year, passed a ruling that data centers will pay for their costs. So the power of the substation, the price of the substation, the price of the power, the price of the generation, those are costs that the data center companies fund themselves. So that is a self-funded cost through their contracts with Georgia Power. That is regulated by the PSC. There's many published articles on that have come out early this year. There are no incentives from Georgia Power for these projects. These projects pay for their cost through collateral, through some upfront construction costs, through their contracts, which are 15-year minimum contracts. These are long-term contracts with a power company. These companies, when they come into these communities, are here. They're here to be supportive. All the data center projects that I've worked on, when they have come into the communities, I see them be community partners with the school system. I know it was mentioned earlier about how are these projects going to positively affect our community. I've seen data center projects go in and partner with the schools and help with STEM, help with technology, partner with the schools where their needs are and help them meet those needs. One other comment that Ms. Savage brought up was related to water and sewer, along with the cost of the upgrades to service power. This project will pay its share for the cost to upgrade to water and sewer to service it. It is not expecting the city of Social Circle to fund the cost to service this project. Those are the main points I took down from Ms. Martin and Ms. Savage's comments, and I will leave the rest of my time for questions from you.
Okay. All right, thank you, sir. No time remaining. Okay. All right, with that, I'll close this public hearing. Ashley, we have the special use permit.
That is correct. So this is a request for the special use to allow for the data center development under light industrial zoning at 0 Hawkins Academy Road and 0 Roy Malcolm Road. So in addition to the previously mentioned zoning request, a special use request is also being made to allow for the development of a data center under light industrial zoning. Under section 2.3.1 of the city's UDC, data centers are only permitted outright in heavy industrial. If you want to go light industrial, you have to get a special use in order to have a data center. Staff recommended approval with some conditions. Number one, there shall be a minimum of 300-foot natural vegetative buffer along Roy Malcolm Road and adjoining properties with a residential use and/or zoning. Number two, if the development of a data center or industrial data center campus does not begin within 3 years from the date of approval, or significant progress is not continuously being made towards the completion of the proposed development, then the special use approval would be rescinded. Number three, maximum parking spaces shall be calculated at 1 parking space per 5,000 square feet of building heated square footage. Number four, wall packs and exterior lighting mounted on buildings shall only be placed above service entrances, shall be full cut-off fixtures and down lighting so as not to cast light or glare towards property lines or streets, and shall not be used in general site lighting. Number five, parking lot lights shall not be taller than 20 feet. They shall be full cutoff fixtures and not cast light or glare towards property lines. Site lighting and photometric plans shall be completed and not provide more than 7-foot candles at the base of the light. And number six, power substations shall be screened from view, if visible from the right-of-way, with a dense evergreen hedge that provides an opaque visual buffer. Said hedge shall be no less than 12 feet in height at the time of planting. Planning Commission recommended denial of the special use to allow for a data center.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. The applicant has 10 minutes.
Thank you. I just want to say we're agreeable with staff's recommendations for the special use permit. Those were the same recommendations made on the rezoning. Just want to say we're agreeable to that, and I'll leave my time for rebuttal.
Thank you. All right, this time I'll open a public hearing. We're going to open the floor to anyone wishing to speak in favor. We had a number of people to sign up for this. First is Jeremy Reese. Esma Reese. Tina Peters. Doug Peters. TJ. Lauren Crane.
Someone left their phone up here. I don't know who that is, just FYI. But I just want to reiterate that we really want to see this benefit, oh, sure, it's okay, the city of Social Circle. And we think it could really do some tremendous things for what the city can do in the future. And that it's, you know, the right place. You've already approved the other project. It's an expansion of that. It's going to allow for it to be less impactful and hopefully provide for a nice campus right there. And just say that, you know, we have the end user. You've seen the power, the utilities, the infrastructure is going to be there. The developer's going to pay for it. The state's making sure that things are going in place. Environmental protections and things like that are going to abide by state and federal laws. And we really hope to partner together with the city and make a really great plan for a successful development that's going to be here long-term for the city of Social Circle. Thank you.
Actually, this is not my phone, Miss Savage, maybe? Yeah.
All right, next up, we have Reverend Jamie Reese. Nate, I think Nate left already, correct? Okay, okay. Deborah Powers.
In support, thank you.
Steve Powers.
Pass support.
James Copeland. I can't read this. Person lives at 1905 Gratis Road.
My name's Dale Dillard, and he's already given you my address. I came really initially to sort of explain what a data center is. I've been in the IT world since I went to Oxford College in 1993. Yeah, so on the internet, doing that, using computers, things like that. And a lot of people really didn't understand what don't understand what a data center is, and to simplify it, it's just if you have two computers in an office or 5 computers in an office and they kind of all work together, you basically have what is a data center minus the monitors and the keyboards. So, you know, and every time, how often do y'all use your phone on Facebook? And, you know, the people have probably been on Facebook reading their Facebook while they're enjoying the meeting tonight. Well, every time you touch your phone or open an internet browser, that uses a data center. And, you know, I mean, nothing happens on your computer today. It's, you know, if you open Internet Explorer, Safari, Facebook, any of that, that's happening off-site. If you Google something, that happens in a data center. And that's just something I want to explain. And everybody's like, not in my backyard for a lot of things. You know, a waste disposal plant, everybody produces waste. We don't want it in our backyard, but a data center doesn't really cause problems like that. They're, you know, increasing technology, and they're bringing like water reclamation, recycling the water. They don't use water, you know, like they say they're going to. Today, I mean, everything's progressive technology that is better every day, that has ways around that. And, you know, you complain about power. Well, the Public Service Commission approved Plant Vogtle years ago for the cost of $14 billion for Georgia Power to build it. It ended up costing $35 billion. That's a $20 billion cost overrun. It was supposed to start operating in, I think, 2014. It started operating like 2 years ago or maybe last year. And you're paying, that's your price in your electric bill that you're already seeing. Georgia Power has already made that $20 billion mistake. So your electric bill, that's why the Public Service Commission froze the rates for 3 years. They saw the error Georgia Power made in their calculations of costs. So all those cost increases aren't going to be from the data centers. That power is already in place. That's the largest, I think, nuclear plant in the country, if not the world, 2.5 gigawatts. So the power's there. These data centers aren't going to really cause more power need or generating need. The generating need in Georgia has been met. So, you know, there's a lot of, you know, a lot of worry about and concern about that. But anyway, but while I've been sitting here, I've just listened to the meeting, and I've kind of made my own notes of questions that I had. Now, I'm just trying to clarify for my own understanding. The Malcolm project has been approved, and there will be data centers on that property, correct? I mean, is that?
He's talking about
Or the project adjacent, the land adjacent to this. Wasn't there?
There was action taken, maybe 2 months ago, on the bypass.
Oh no, that's another location, like the Stanton Springs, like where the Meta. That's.
No, this is on the bypass, right at Fairplay Road.
So it's close to this property.
Yes.
So it would. So there will be structures similar to this. Yes, adjacent. So if or close. So that's what. Yeah, I just didn't understand that because everybody's saying no data centers, but it sounded like y'all already approved it. Right, but they're coming. So it seems like, I mean, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to kind of figure this out. So,
Hey, let's make comments directly towards the board, and people
Okay.
in the audience, no comments, please.
Okay. Well, so they have been approved, and so it's coming. And so, all right, I just wondered that for my own, you know, because like I said, I just made a few notes. But again, I just wanted to explain, you know, like I said, if we linked all of our cell phones together with a cord in here, it would be a big data center. You know, that's what, if everybody connected their phone, you know, it's not going to, so we would basically have multiple processors working together. And that's all a data center is. You know, it's just rows and rows of computer boxes and processors. The processors are about the size of a cell phone. The ones in your cell phone are about this big. You know, so if you look at what it is, it's nothing that we already aren't around. You know, we hold a phone in our hand every day up to our ear. We type on a computer every day. You know, we're always around the same equipment. So people have fear of data centers, and I just didn't, you know, don't understand that either. Why people are, kind of scared of data centers, and because we're using them. We've got one, like I said, the same thing that is in there is in our hand and in our face every day. So that's just another point. And it seems like, too, with the other businesses that are around Social Circle, the Solo plant, the Rivian plant, all those large buildings with hundreds of employees and trucks and things like that, well, this won't cause anything. It's going to have a buffer around it, supposedly. If it's stretched out to this land, it seems like they said that it should be able to be lower buildings because they'll have a larger surface area to put them on land-wise. So, Miss Elsie, I believe, she mentioned, she was concerned at the height of the buildings and things like that. Well, if anything, everybody knows if you stretch something out over a larger surface area, you have the same volume in a lower, you could make it lower, shorter. So it seems like that would be a valid, something that I noticed, just sitting here in the meeting that a lot of people were concerned about. So if this was approved, that would enable the ones that are going to be near it or to be smaller, so everybody wins. And then someone mentioned, they may be vacated in a few years. Well, it's estimated that they're going to spend almost $35 trillion in the next decade on data centers. Now, the United States budget is $7 trillion. So that's, if you do the math, that's almost $3.5 trillion a year. That's half of our country's budget that are going to be spent on data centers. So I kind of doubt that they're going to be vacated if they're trying to spend, as much as the whole country, half as much as the whole country spends annually on building more. And that's, kind of a worldwide figure, but the United States is a larger player in that. They're even talking about now putting them on satellites in space because people don't want them down here. So, yeah, I agree. That's a novel idea, but it's not coming anytime soon. But I just think, from what I've sat here and listened to, that it seems, people are saying no data center, they don't want this approved. But it seems like it's a no-brainer to be approved because it's already been approved next door. And so it's going to happen one way or the other. It's just going to happen in a place like where Georgia Power, they've abused their rights, it sounds like, toward the powers, on having that substation and taking more and more of their land and, that kind of thing. So I don't know. I'm just trying to figure things out and listen and ask as a concerned citizen. So thank you.
Thank you. Looks like 26 seconds is remaining if anybody else wants to speak in favor. Yeah, we have 3 more names. Colton Peters or Powers. Pass. Okay. Jeannie Hunter. James Hunter.
I done waited long enough. How many seconds I got?
26.
I know, I've built and developed in Oconee County. I've been to a lot of these meetings, and there's a lot of tension on both sides. Somebody wins, somebody loses. And I just hope and pray that whoever wins tonight, however y'all vote, that everybody goes in peace. And because, this land Doug and them has had with these, all that electricity out there for years has been bad. Now they have a time to be blessed by it. We live in America. That's it.
Yep, that's it. Yeah.
We live in America, but I think that a man ought to own his land, do what he wants to with it.
Thank you, sir. All right, now we'll open the floor for those wishing to speak against. We have a number of people that have signed in.
First is Jeremy Reese. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. Scared you, didn't I? Ms. Stoddard.
I want to apologize for my outburst earlier speaking out of term. I should have waited till I was at the mic, and I'm sorry. I just felt passionate at the moment. As you already know, I'm opposed to heavy industrial projects ever being put in residential and agriculture areas under the guise of being slid under light industrial zoning with a special use permit. These are heavy industrial projects. As the city states themselves, data centers are only allowed outright in heavy industrial zoning. You've heard me say this before. They should never be allowed under light industrial zoning, in my opinion. This message that I have to say is for the citizens inside the city that are currently using the city water. I would like to ask a question on your behalf, since there are very little of you represented here today, and a lot of you are watching this meeting live, or maybe we'll watch it back later. In the event of a drought or water shortage with data centers up and running, anywhere between, we've heard different ones, 1 million to 3 million gallons of water per day that they can use at peak usage. Who will have to cut back on the water usage? Would it be the data center or the residents in that case of drought? Are we just running the clock, or are y'all going to answer? I just question. It's a question.
Actually, comments on it, so no question.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I just thought since you answered some people's questions, you would answer mine. But maybe some of the city people might want to show up to some of these from now on and ask for questions, or maybe for a work session, they might want to come and see what it's all about. A data center is a data center, so no amount of praising the data center and saying what a fabulous project's going to be makes it any different from all the other ones that we've seen come across the table. I mean, it's the same. It's the same thing. There was something else I was going to say, but I have drawn a blank, so I'll leave the time for somebody else, but I might pass it along to somebody else later. Oh, I did. I remember. Okay. Data centers, the project will be basically, they are heavy industrial projects, like I said. If the technology on these projects are so volatile, why would we not wait for it to stabilize before saddling the area with it? Because every answer we get is the technology is moving so fast, we don't know. It could be this, it could be that. That seems like a dangerous place to jump into at this moment in time. Maybe we should wait till the technology stabilizes. Thank you.
Mike Owens.
So just want to comment just a little bit on this same story. You know, I feel like this project is an overreach. The annexation by the city is an overreach. It's a peninsula that runs right out into a community that does not want this. The only people to benefit from that is the Peters family and the city, because the city gets the increase on the tax digest. The city gets the franchise fees on all the power sold to them. And if there's water associated, it's every one of the utilities that are sent there. So that's a 5%. I don't think any of these folks live there. I know Jeremy lives there because he's my neighbor. The rest of them, from where are they coming from? And maybe if data centers are so great, let's put it over on Gratis Road.
John Miller.
Hi, my name is John Miller. I live at 20 Lakeview, so I actually do live in the city. I also have a farm on Knox Chapel as well, so this kind of hits me from two different ways. But I understand the Peters' desire to sell the property. I'm definitely one who feels like you should be able to do what you want to do on your property. I know I've been limited on doing some things on my own property that is not always exciting to deal with. I'm also very understanding of the tax benefits that the city is looking for. Had we known about the Georgia Power constant ask for your land, there's many of us that would have stood side by side with you to fight against that. So we love you guys, and we certainly think you guys are part of the community. So, but it should not be overlooked that planning and zoning recommended denial for this project. We have some very talented people on that board. People way smarter than myself, and they looked at this project and recommended denial. So that should not be underlooked. Also, the gentleman spoke earlier in favor of technology advancing such that the impact is going to decrease over time, but it's equally possible that that same technology will render these projects completely unnecessary. So it's also important to note that even the folks up here that are voting, I know you have concerns about these projects because I've talked to you about them. You encourage us to talk to you, and we have. So I know that you have serious concerns about these. It's important to think long term to ensure that we have a sound policy in their regard. The state is currently reviewing guidelines regarding data centers because of these infrastructure and resource demands that have been talked about tonight. That study is not complete. It's still ongoing, and the guidelines have not been set. There are amendments to the UDC that are currently ongoing to address these types of projects. And is it not prudent that we wait until these exercises are complete before we jump headlong into the unknown? It doesn't seem smart. That doesn't seem like long-term planning to me. So let's not take the stance that we must pass this in order to find out if it affects us. Let's find out what the effects are, what the guidelines are, and then make an informed decision. There's also a real estate term called quiet enjoyment, which simply states that property owners are afforded quiet enjoyment of their property. And just as there's ordinance to protect the quiet enjoyment of your property in regard to your neighbors, we must protect current property owners' quiet enjoyment as we pursue these developments. It is important to note that there is only one active data center in the area, and it is zoned in a heavy industrial park. A development, I might add, that took into account the quiet enjoyment of its neighbors, because it has excessive setbacks. In fact, you wouldn't even know it's there unless you're flying over or driving down 20. But this is not being considered in heavy industrial. This is being considered in light industrial, and only under a special use permit, which can and does give this council complete and unlimited discretion to ensure the quiet enjoyment of the neighbors. So I'm asking that you not only stipulate the things that you have, but also put in there that it cannot be seen from any road or any neighbor, not just a 300-foot vegetation, because in the fall, all of that vegetation is going to fall and the project's going to be visible to the neighbors. I think that creating berms, whatever it takes to make sure that the project is not visible, much like the heavy industrial project that these projects belong in. I ask that we also stipulate the recirculation water on this project to not overtax our water system. And what I haven't heard discussed yet is the stipulation to require sound dampeners in the fans. These projects all have, talked about computers earlier, we've all heard the fans go off on our computers. Imagine that on a massive scale. And it's not just the high decibels that you can hear and that dissipate over a short period of time, but it's the low decibel sounds as well that travel much farther than the high decibel sounds. So I haven't heard any of those stipulations in there. So I'm asking, if we are going to consider those, please consider the quiet enjoyment of the neighbors add these additional stipulations. My preference would be to wait and see what the guidelines are from the state and also make the adjustments to the UDC before we make a decision on this project. I think that's the safe, prudent, responsible way to set policy. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. We have a minute and 19 seconds left. Ms. Elsie Queen.
I wanted to comment on the well issue because those along Social Circle Fairplay Road have had to drill their own wells, and we're not on Georgia Power. We're on Walton EMC, and I'm very pleased. We don't get a bill, and if we were annexed into the city, we would be paying utilities on your whatever it is. But I have a friend that lives in the city, and she said their water is dingy most of the time. So I think the city needs to clear up its own issues that are present instead of adding some more to it. But my water is clear as can be. I've bought some 36 bottles of water that I thought was a good deal, but after I tasted it, I don't even want to give it to the homeless because it's had some additive in it, and my water is just clear and fresh as can be. So I'm pleased with my well, but I don't have a bill. We pay to Walton EMC, so that was my comment about the wells.
Thank you, Ms. Queen. All right, applicant has the opportunity to comment.
Sorry. I just want to comment. Thank you all in attendance. Thank you, Mayor and Council. We're excited to move this project forward. We're excited about the opportunities this project can bring for the city. And when you're bringing opportunities for the city, you're bringing opportunities for the citizens. And we're just excited about the opportunities this project's going to bring. Thank you for tonight.
Thank you, sir. With that, I'll close the public hearing. We bring this back to the council for action. First item is the annexation request. I'll entertain a motion.
I would like to make a motion that we approve the annexation.
Okay, got a motion from Teresa. Is there a second? Motion from Teresa, second from Steve. Any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Motion passes 3-1.
2-1.
2-1, I'm sorry. Nathan's not here tonight. Future land use map, entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the future land use map.
Got a motion from Teresa. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Councilmember Shelton. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Rezone request.
I would like to
State
make.
what the action was, the vote was.
It was 2 in favor, 1 opposed. So the motion passes. Got a rezone. Item number 3, request to rezone 0 Hawkins Academy Road and 0 Roy Malcolm Road.
I would like the motion to approve the request for the rezone.
Is that with the conditions, Ms. Teresa?
Yes,
With what
with the conditions.
The conditions as stated by staff, and I think there was a couple other stipulations.
With the, I think the 300 feet buffer and,
Yeah, that recommended by staff is a 300-foot
Yeah.
buffer, with the 3-year sunset. Ashley, do you have these written down? It's gonna be cleaner in the record.
Well, I'm gonna amend it anyway, so it don't matter.
So the conditions on the rezone recommended by staff are, a 300-foot natural vegetated buffer along Roy Malcolm Road and adjoining properties with a residential use and/or zoning. If development of data center or industrial data center campus does not begin within 3 years from date of approval, or significant progress is not continuously being made towards the completion of the proposed development, then the zoning of the property would revert back to agriculture. Maximum parking spaces shall be calculated at 1 parking space per 5,000 square feet of building heated square footage. Wall packs and exterior lighting mounted on buildings shall only be placed above service entrances, shall be full cutoff fixtures and down lighting so as not to cast light or glare towards property lines or streets, and shall not be used for general site lighting. Parking lot lights shall not be taller than 20 feet, shall be full cutoff fixtures and not cast light or glare toward property lines. Site lighting photometric plan shall be completed and not provide more than 7-foot candles at the base of the light. And power substation shall be screened from view if visible from the right of way with a dense evergreen hedge that provides an opaque visual buffer. Said hedge shall be no less than 12 feet in height at the base of planting.
That your motion?
Thank you, Ashley. Will, Tracy, you going to accept those conditions? Restate your motion?
yes, I accept those conditions.
Will you amend your motion?
Yes, I would like to make a motion to approve the, request to rezone.
Will you, will you take a
What now?
suggestion for some amendments to your motion?
Yes,
All buildings to be no more than 1 story. The setbacks will change to 500 foot from all roadways. Sound dampeners on all fans and equipment with low and high frequencies, and would be no
Talking about the lighting?
no. There was another one, I can't remember what it was.
Are they using gas to heat?
No hidden cost to the city on any utilities.
Okay.
yeah, make a motion to approve with those added adjustments.
As stated by Councilmember Shelton?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Got a motion. Is there a second?
You make one, can we amend the motion again? One more, I forgot one. Can we amend the motion again?
Yeah.
Any wells that's affected by this project that would be replaced at the
It's
at the industry's expense.
at the expense of it, okay. I
You good with
accept that.
Tracy, you accept those amendments?
I accept those amendments by City Councilman Shelton.
Okay. All right. Have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Got a motion from Teresa and a second from Steve. Any further discussion?
Discussion. So I know when when we bring in houses, they have to use gas appliances. Are they using any gas that to heat the building or anything? And it's something that we can add into it.
Not using any gas, are you? We've had this conversation. I don't believe you are.
Did you get your question answered, Tyson?
I'm good.
Good.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, the applicants are good with all of the stipulations and conditions stated. Yes.
Okay. All right, still waiting on a second.
Steve second. Who's in discussion?
Okay, in discussion?
Ready for vote?
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nay.
Okay. 2 in favor, 1 in opposition. Motion passes. The last thing is the special use to allow a data center.
I would like to make a motion to approve the special use to allow a data center.
With the same conditions?
With the same amendment conditions.
Okay. Got a motion from Teresa. Is there a second?
I second.
Motion from Teresa, second from Tyson. Any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
2 in opposition?
No, I was voting with Tracy.
Okay, vote with Teresa. Okay. All right, motion passes 2-1. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that completes our meeting. Need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion from Tyson. Get a second. Adjourn.
So moved.
Okay. All right, got a motion from Tyson, second from Steve.
These chairs are terrible.
Crowd, get out of here.
What?
These chairs are terrible.
I was worried about it holding me up.
Do what now?